Shabbat Shalom, everybody. In a week of difficulty, we have some good news. Cantor Whitner had his baby. Suddenly, water broke Monday night, and Tuesday he became a father. But the other good news is that Cantor Gutchin's back, my wingman, my great friend, and we're so thrilled that he's here with us this weekend and next Saturday night for Slichot. But I love seeing you, man. So,
thank you, Rabbi.
And we begin with Shalom Aleichem and Mishkan Tefillah, the blue prayer book underneath you or in front of you on page 142, 142, Cantor Jude.
Please feel free to join me.
Shalom Aleichem, Malchei HaShoret, Malchei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Lochem l'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malchei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu l'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malchei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malchei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Turn to the top of page 124, 124. And for those who are comfortable, please join me in this English reading. We enter the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into the sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within the human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. It's a great pleasure to welcome the Kushmeriu family to the Bima as they light our Shabbat candles.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
For those who are able, we rise together for our Kiddush 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafein.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho ba'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ba'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim.
Drink up.
Yeah, drink up. You deserve it. Not too much. You got more prayers to
Well,
do.
Rabbi, he's not driving, is he?
Do this. I'm just kidding. Please be seated.
He's not driving, is he?
Are you?
No. Okay.
Take a seat. We turn to page 127, 127. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as we care nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, and day of peace. We continue on the bottom of page 135, 135 with Romamu.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו.
138.
לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, שמו תפארת ולי תהילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי הנה כל הברכה בראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה.
We rise together to greet Shabbat HaMelkah.
ושלום עטרת בלגן בשמחה ובית tzola tochemune am segula. Bo we chala, lechadodi likrat kala, pinei Shabbat nekabela, lechadodi likrat kala, pinei Shabbat nekabela.
The bottom of page 145, 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. We continue with our Chetzi Kaddish right there on page 144.
Yitkada v'yitkada Shemei Rabba V'yalmad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayedecha Beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kariv V'emeru Amen Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevorach Leolam ulamei olamaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalav Shemei Gudesha Richu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiron bi'alma v'imero Amen.
We rise together to return to pages 146 and 147.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech, let us bless.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
We continue on page 148.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvit vuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umasader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtsono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshe, v'choshe mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tisvaot shmo, El chai v'kayam tamid yamloch aleinu, le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'arif arvim.
Page 150.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha avta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu V'shoveinu v'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה מאהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinaynaytam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech Uv'shochbecha, uv'kumecha, uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beineinecha, uchtavtam hamzot beitecha, uv'isharecha. Lama antiskeru, v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'itim kedoshim lelichem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
The top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. If there's a better place, a promised land, the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Michamocha 158.
Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh, norah tehilot osef eleh, norah tehilot osef eleh. Malchotecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, ze'elianu ve'amru, ze'elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam, le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh, norah tehilot osef eleh, norah tehilot osef eleh. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la.
The top of page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Or Hashkivenu 160.
Understanding among us, let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, De'hamidenu, shomerenu lechayim, ufros aleinu, suchat shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Top of page 163. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We continue with Vishamru.
Vishamru, Vishamru, v'nei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot, et HaShabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
The middle of page 165. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer might not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. For those who are able, we rise together for our tefillah.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach ufiyai tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Anora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו מאהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע. Morid Hagashem, Morid Hatal, Mechalkem Chayim Bechesed, Mechayim Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Oholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatzamiach Yeshua, ונאמנת לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue the top of page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. May this day fulfill its promise. We continue on page 179, 179, and please join me. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul. May the love of thy name hallow every home and every heart. Praise you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. 178.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael v'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
We take a few moments for silent prayer.
Ose shalom, ose shalom, ose shalom bimroma. Aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Hu ya'aseh Shalom. Hu ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imeru Amen. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom b'imromav ve'imru. Amen.
At this moment in our service, we take time to think of those community, our friends, our loved ones, those who are in need of healing of body or spirit. On this Shabbat, we especially think of Linda Applebaum, Sydney Silverman Bailey, Sophia Berry, Kelly Bonds, Harold Seitling, Deborah Chagua, Karen Edwards, Ruth Grafman Fromstein, Edward Goldberg, Barbara Goldstone, Elaine Gross, Josie Hatfield, Evelyn Held, Donald Maida Himmel, Norma Jill Jacobson, Corey Kessler, Laney Klein, Bart Kolber, Jerry Lapidus, Wayne Lewis, Jeffrey Muss, Susie Oafson, David Siegel, Liz Slive, Chrissy St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, Jesse Weisberg, and Elisa Roseberg Whitehead. For those that are with us this evening, if you're thinking of a loved one, a friend who's in need of healing of body and spirits, we invite you to share that name out loud as my eyes meet yours. Go, Jerry. For those names mentioned out loud and for those names that are still in our hearts, Amisha Berach, once again, is on page 371 in Mishkan Tefillah. Traditionally, Amisha Berach is done after a Torah service, 371, the middle.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So I don't forget, there's two important announcements. Registration is open for fall session of Temple Circles. Stay on after the service is over to view a video, but for those who are watching here, I guess you have to watch it at home, showing all of our leaders and circles happening this fall. It's arguably one of our most successful programs, so Temple Circles. Stay tuned after tonight's service. And this Sunday at 3 o'clock, it's going to be the BHEC's L'Chaim, 3 o'clock. Unfortunately, it's live streamed, but it's at Red Mountain Theater, which is very exciting. For those who haven't seen it, Red Mountain Theater's new building, which is just simply incredible. It's fantastic. Again, BHC is such an important institution, not just the city, but to the state of Alabama, and we're so blessed to have them here at Temple Emanu-El this Sunday, 3 o'clock, L'Chaim. Sometimes I wish I could come up here and talk about the simple joy of life. In today's Wall Street Journal, there was a fascinating story on the cover of a non-Jewish family who accidentally turned on their state-of-the-art General Electric oven. They turned it on to Shabbat mode, and they had no idea how to take it off. So the heart of the story was all of the appliances that can have Shabbat mode, from our ovens to the refrigerator. And they were so horrified that they broke the oven and the brownies didn't come out the way because it just stays at 350 degrees for the Shabbat period to ensure that no electricity to use. But it was a nice way because we've had a pretty brutal week. I think you know where I'm about to go, but I'm going to be very cautious with the words I'm about to say. But there's been two major stories. The first one was an absolute terrible storm in Haiti, which I think 2,000 lives, and that's growing. And 10 years ago, or 11 years ago, when they had the earthquake, which killed nearly 250,000 people, they really didn't fix the infrastructure. So a lot of the news has been focused in Asia, in Afghanistan, but keep in mind what's happening here in the Western Hemisphere as well. And I know that the Miami Federation is rallying to show support for Haiti, and our government is sending aid down there too as well. But we should keep that in mind as being a light to the nations. So during the month of Elul, it has this way to really punch us in the gut. Our rabbis say that Rosh Hashanah begins the spiritual trial of the Jewish people. Yom Kippur is also known as Yom Hadin, the day that God makes God's decision regarding our transgressions, and to ensure and to convince God that we are back on the path of teshuvah, to repentance and righteousness. But where we are in the Jewish calendar, this way of this reflection, this gut to the stomach, what we're feeling inside, of anger, of frustration, of reflection, all the things to examine our imperfections. And what we've been seeing on television in Afghanistan, I think every American in this country, I assume, we can't find the words. And in today's, I think, photo of the year is a United States, I believe he's in the army, holding an Afghani baby, and they're tossing babies over the fence as they believe that the babies are going to be better rather than the Taliban. And you see these images presented throughout this country. I'm a rabbi. I don't claim to be an expert in the military, nor I didn't go to the Naval War College. My closest friend at Vanderbilt, I went to graduate school before rabbinical school. He eventually ended up enlisting and was a recipient of the Purple Heart. He got shrapnel from an IED, and what he posted, I think, is something that we all need to hear, especially for those who have never served. His point was that it's about the person next to you and what you see about politics in the air. It's about duty and the call of honor, and if it was asked or given an order, he'd go back to Afghanistan. So I don't think the question is, should we be there or should we leave? I think it's our empathy for those who have served this country, ensuring freedom, and thinking of those Afghanis whose life right now is about to have inherent darkness. So my words for us this morning to find some type of process, some type of meaning actually comes from our Machzor, our High Holiday Prayer Book. It says what we see on TV, we're asked with one question, what are we going to do? And I think this is a good response. When evil darkens our world, let us be the bearers of light. When fists are clenched in self-righteous rage, let our hands be open for the sake of peace. When injustice slams the door on the ill, the poor, the old, and the stranger, let us pry the doors open. Where shelter is lacking, let us be builders. Where food and clothing are needed, let us be providers. Where knowledge is denied, let us be champions of learning. When dissent is stifled, let our voices speak truth to power. When the earth and its creatures are threatened, let us be their guardians. When bias, greed, and bigotry erode our country's values, let us proclaim liberty throughout the land. And here is our mission. In the places where no one acts like a human being, let us bring courage. Let us bring compassion. Let us bring humanity. So I think the message for this Shabbat, and as we're in Elul, maybe this is once we put away the self-righteousness, the politics, and the Facebook post. Let us bring courage to our family, to the city. Let us bring compassion to those who need it. And above all, let us bring humanity. We want to bring light to a darkened world. It first starts with us, and then we can make change. Shabbat Shalom. For those who are able, we rise to page 586 for our Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, ואור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני
We turn to page 593 at the top, 593, and I just want to point this out that as we experiment with the Reformed Standard Prayer Book, Mishkan Tefillah, part of its journey is the ability not only to experience the richness of tradition that we've never once tried, but it brings back certain readings that are dear to us. So this reading on the top of page 593, it may sound familiar for many of us because this reading actually comes from the New Union Prayer Book. So they wanted to include readings that are still dear to this moment, and that's why I love this reading and something that would complement this congregation. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides, and please join me if you're comfortable. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living, and and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love we are comforted. The life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. This Shabbat, we recall the yortzites of Claude Alun, Gerhard Anspach, Russell Bean, Pauline Berger, Ann Bergman, Seligman H. Blank and Irma May Blank, Paul Bruck, Rosalind Rosenthal Cohen, Julius H. Cohen, Bertha Copeland, Harry Milton Datnoff, Larry Datnoff, Max Eisenberg, Esther Epsman, Louis Epstein, Erwin Ike Fierman, David Ford, Max Friedman, Marcia Sal Friedman, David Gamberg, Sam Goldberg, Gertrude Goldstein, Max Gottlieb, Bobby Kaminsky, Abe Kaufman, Sadie C. Coslin, Rosa M. Krawczyk, Violet Lightman, Emma Sachs-Levin, David S. Levine, Hyman Herc Maurice Levine Jr., Maria Lind, Jeanette G. Lipson, Maurice Mervis, Dorothy S. Meyer, Sarah Moore, Henry Monroe, Helen Nagrotsky, Gilbert Odrezin, Irving Phillipson, Bessie R. Pizitz, David Rich, Betty Rivkin, Irving Rubel, Edward Siegel, Jake Silverfield, Morris Singer, Henry A. Spielberger, Bernard S. Steiner Jr., and Jean Kaufman Wheel. And our heartfelt condolences in the recent passing of Ronald Beasley, friend of Chase Callahan, Wilma Denny, mother of David Denny, Amy Rochelle Green, niece of former congregants Ralph and Shelley Green, Lucian Hagedorn, husband of Jean, Bennett Tucker Meads, friends of Jody Robinson, and Becky Seitel, wife of Alan. We rise together as a united congregation for our Martyrs' Kaddish on page 598. Yikadal, Vikadash, Shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
Bioma Divrach, Yote, Vamlich, Machute, Vachayachon, of Yomechon, Uvkait, the called Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Uzman, Kariv, Yimru,
Amen.
Yehei, Shmei, Rabbah, Mivarach, Li'olam, Olamel, Maya, Yit Barach, V'hi Shabbat, Hit Ba'ar, Hit Ramam, Hit Naseh, B'dadar, B'talev, B'talal, Shmei Dekudsha,
Richu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damin ram v'ilma v'yimru,
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu yasei shalom, aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen.
V'yimru, 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 Amen. V'yimru, 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 Amen.
And before we conclude with Adon Olam, there's one thing I just want to teach. Recently, a congregant asked, why do we back up 3 times and bow like this? And it's the same explanation as to why we recite Kol Nidre traditionally 3 times. So the reason is because in Kol Nidre that we enter the chamber and God is presented as king, and there's 3 sections. The farthest section, and it gets a little bit closer, and then we enter into the chamber to have our time with God. So the reason why we back up 3 times is to show that respect that we're about to be in God's presence. So the significance of 3. So for those who wanted, and it's the same reason too traditionally why we cover it, do it 3 times. The idea of 3 of getting into the holiness of God's essence. As I brought up the Machzor, the High Holiday Prayer Book, just wanted to teach you something. And we conclude with Adon Olam on page 625.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ויחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשיל לו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה יאללה לה 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 והוא עלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא יאללה לה 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 בידו הפקיד רוחי וישן ולא יירא ואם רוחי גוויתי אדוני לי ולא יירא יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה לה לה
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha'motzi lechem min ha'aretz.
Amen. Amen. Take a bite, you deserve it. You gotta fulfill the mitzvah by eating it. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Terry, and I would like to welcome you to the Taste of Temple Circles. We are so pleased to share that we have circles or small groups that will begin at various times. Our groups range from hiking to Havdalah. I invite you to sit back, relax, and learn more about what's coming from our leaders. At the end of the video, I will share how to join these amazing groups, and you can learn more about Temple Circles. Now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Karen Piasek, and this is my husband, Joel. Together, we lead a temple circle, and it's called Broadway Comes to Circles. What we do is read Neil Simon plays. We take turns going to other people's homes that are in the group, and we have a light dinner, and then we read these plays. And believe me, you don't have to be talented to read these plays. All you have to do is have a sense of humor, read, and laugh a lot.
Everyone takes one part in the play, and we read and cycle according to the play books. We did read one play, but after the group decided to pause, obviously we haven't met since then and probably won't meet till we're comfortable that COVID-19 is under control. Right now our group is full, but we invite anyone who might be interested in this to get on a waiting list, as we might have some vacancies as time goes on. Thanks so much for considering Broadway Comes to Circles.
And get on our waiting list. You never know when someone will drop out. Come join us.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Rothstein. My husband Earl and I would like you to join our Temple Circle Havdalah Under the Stars. We'll schmooze, dine, potluck style, drink, and celebrate Havdalah together outside, weather permitting, of course, rotating homes. If necessary, we will celebrate virtually.
Our first of 6 get-togethers will be on Saturday, October 2nd at our home at 5:30 p.m. The other dates and times will be listed when registration opens.
If you are looking to make or deepen friendships while doing something Jewish, this circle is for you.
L'chaim.
We've all had an experience where a minister, a family member, a rabbi said something that made us feel rejected, that we didn't belong. We've all had to grit our teeth at a party or a meeting where a friend or cohort made a comment that made us feel somehow less than. Need a place to share that? I'm Jesse Bates. Now that doesn't sound very Jewish, does it? Well, that's kind of the point of our little circle group. My wife and I have had the privilege of heading up several sessions of Loving Our Interfaith Family. It's been a lifeline for us and for those who joined in our discussions. We talk about surviving and thriving in this divided, confused, and not so loving world of ours. And we've discovered how cultural differences sometimes get mixed in with issues of faith. Then we have that happy surprise when it turns out we're really more alike than we knew. So, need a place to share all that? Loving Our Interfaith Families may be just your group. We're scheduled to meet on Tuesdays every other week, starting at September the 28th for 6 sessions at 6 o'clock. Hope you'll think about joining us.
My name is Billy Marsala, and I am leading the Man in Search of God Temple Circle. This fall, we will begin exploring Judaism through the philosophical lens of Abraham Joshua Herschel's book, God in Search of Man. The circle will begin the last Tuesday of September, and we will meet every 2 weeks, either on a Tuesday or Thursday thereafter. This circle is unique because we will be exploring this book over 2 sessions, both the spring and fall session. Now, you don't have to commit to both sessions at this juncture, and we may be picking up some new explorers in the spring session in February of next year. This circle begins on September 28th. Won't you join us?
Hi! Everyone has stories to tell. I encourage you to share some of your interesting and amusing stories in my Temple Circle called Stories, Music, and Laughter. We connect in friendship and fellowship. Nothing brings people together like the power of a good story. We socialize, we schmooze, but let me emphasize the laughter. We have so much fun that some of our participants have rejoined this group time after time. Your life is a story. Tell us what happened when you were stopped by a cop, or the surprise at your child's bar mitzvah, or the advice your parents gave that you'll never forget. We sometimes share deep thoughts. Most of all, we are entertaining and enjoyable. Please consider this a personal invitation. I hope to see you soon.
Hi everyone, I'm Vicki Luger and I'm a member of Temple Emanu-El for 25 years now. I am so excited to be a part of Temple Emanu-El's Temple Circles, Where the Winds Blow. That is a Marjan group that is online and we have a good time. Registration is going to be after my video. Just wanted to let everybody know that we are here for you to walk you through this fun Marjan program from beginning to intermediate, and all you have to do is just zoom along and have a good time. Look forward to meeting you.
What a great selection. I know you're eager to join, so I invite you to head over to ourtemple.org. That's OURTEMPLE.org and click on Temple Circles right on the front screen to learn more and register. Registration is open now for the next 2 weeks. If you have any questions, you are always welcome to contact me at Monica, MONIKA, at ourtemple.org, or via phone at 205-933-8037, extension 213. Thanks for watching, and Shabbat Shalom.